This is the detective search, Sunday, October 13th for Dauphin Dog Training Club. This was the exterior portion of our search. The purple dots were our start line. We had flags that delineated the boundary, so the grass and light pole and all the shrubbery behind were out of play on the left. And on the right side, we had these blue dots delineating our boundary. Everything along this patio area was in play. We had a single hide up on the corner of that metal plaque on the wall. This odor was drifting down along the wall. As the sun came out, it started to move odor, and odor started to collect along the picnic tables. Dogs did a really nice job of dismissing odor that was here. With time, the odor started to drift, and we did have a couple falses in this corner of the picnic table. The rest of this area did not have any hides. These doors remained open. The vestibule was in play. This area was blank. We had boundary markers here. We had an entrance which also stayed open, and this was the start of our interior portion of the search area. The ropes and the green dots demarcated a boundary, so we searched this side, including everything along the walls and behind the desks. There were 3 hides in this room and 2 distractors. The first hide was located underneath the leg of this chair. This hide started to pull out and collect along the counter and up on the desk, and actually got pulled out a little into the vestibule when the sun was out. We had a second hide here under the corner of this table, and this odor was presenting in this corner and along the back on both sides of the soda machine. And a third hide tucked underneath the corner of this counter, which was presenting down the hall a little bit and also tracking along the counter. The big challenge here was handlers letting their dogs come through the vestibule and work this space without spending too much time checking things outside. The biggest challenge was the convergence between these 2 hides. Dogs would catch one and move on, and sometimes the handlers didn't get a chance to bring the dogs back. There were 2 distractors here. We had a tin with Chex Mix tucked deep underneath that green chair, and there was a baby Kong toy, a tiny Kong toy taped underneath that chair, which the dogs all dismissed really nicely. We continued on down the hallway. Both sides of the walls were in play. We also had this classroom. There was a single hide here in this classroom. It was tucked under the wheel of this cart. The odor was actually presenting along the side of the cart, and dogs were crawling underneath this desk to try to source it. The rest of this room was blank. It was a challenge for the handlers, and there was a food distraction here. It was Cinnamon Toast Crunch. We did have 1 dog alert there. We came out here. This is all in play. And underneath, deep underneath the snack machine, there was another distractor with chicken jerky, which the dogs pretty much dismissed. This hallway was in play. We had a transition hide tucked behind this hinge, which worked really nicely. The dogs worked odor all along this wall on both sides of the door. And then we had this hallway and both sides of the walls. And the last 2 hides were here, 1 hide here, and the hide underneath this frame at the very end of our boundary marker delineating the end of the search area. The total square footage for our search area was 2,684 square feet. The teams had 9 minutes. We had 12 exhibitors. Unfortunately, no one qualified. The biggest challenge for the handlers was spending too much time in one area, and all the hides were sourced at least once, most of them sourced by most of the dogs. Nice try, everyone. It was a pleasure watching the dogs work.